Sundarbans literally means beautiful forest. But is the forest beautiful enough to fulfill your travel love? Let's find out. Just to clarify on what I mentioned before, even though Sundarban literally means beautiful forest, that's not where the name comes from. The name comes from one of the most abundant trees found in the Sundarban forest region, which is called Sundari trees or beautiful tree. So don't expect the forest to all be beautiful just because it is called beautiful. However, it is indeed beautiful. The Sundarbans cover about 10,000 square kilometers, with 40% of it being in India's West Bengal and the other 60% being where I live, in Bangladesh, specifically the southern part of Bangladesh inside the Khulna division. This is what I will be mainly covering in this video: how to get there, what to do, which places to see, and will you be eaten by tigers? This video is only part 1 of the Sundarban A to Z guide. It will cover how to get to Sundarban in the easiest possible way, my recommendations, and the main attractions people visit when they go to Sundarban, the Kochikhali tour. Part 2, which will be linked at the end of this video and in the descriptions below, will cover the various other Sundarban spots that you might want to visit. For clarity's sake, I will be segmenting these videos into various parts with the timestamp linked in the description below, so just click on them to navigate through the video, and if you just want to know about something specific. To get right into it, let's talk about how to get to Sundarban from Dhaka. I'm assuming that's where you guys will get off if you are flying in from abroad. As you guys might have already known, Sundarban is the world's largest mangrove forest. Basically, a mangrove forest is a forest made of mangrove, small shrubs or trees that grow in coastal saline or brackish water. Sundarban is located on the delta of 3 rivers, the Ganges, the Brahmaputra and Meghna, and to the south is the Bay of Bengal. So the water is quite saline, and this gives you guys a lot of options to how to get there. You can go there by either plane or either by bus ride, train, or even boat. One disclaimer here: if you guys are new to Bangladesh, then I would always recommend choosing an agency from Dhaka to plan your travel itinerary if you guys don't know anyone living in Bangladesh. Only if you guys have a local guide and he can show you the ways of Bangladesh, how to get to Sundarban safely, then you may follow one of these methods. Other than that, there are many reputed agencies you can find online. Just contact them and plan your trips. I am not being sponsored by any agency, so I will not be naming any of them, but for safety's sake, I had to mention this. Okay, moving on. As mentioned before, the 4 options are either by air, by train, by road travel like bus or car, or by waterways like with a boat or paddle steamer. Using some of these methods, you cannot go there directly. For example, if you want to go there via plane, you have to first get off at Jashore Airport if you get on from Dhaka Airport. From there, you have to take either a bus or car ride to one of the 3 districts of Khulna, Satkhira, or Bagarhat. For foreign travelers, usually they would go to Khulna. A plane ticket would cost around 85 USD per person from Dhaka to Jessore, and from there it would take about 5 to 10 USD per person for a bus or taxi ride if you want to go to Khulna. Not counting boarding time, a plane journey usually takes from 30 to 40 minutes, and from there the bus or taxi ride would be an hour, maybe two. If you want to go to Sundarban via train, then from Dhaka Kamalapur railway station, you have to travel directly to Khulna via one of the two trains, one of which is called Chitra Express, the other is called Sundarban Express. Yeah, I know, the train is named after the forest. The train ticket price varies depending on which class you want to travel in. For example, a Shovan chair ticket for each person would cost anywhere from 420 taka to 450 taka. 1 USD is approximately 85 taka currently, and the Shovan chair class would be equivalent to something like the economy class abroad. A private cabin, on the other hand, would cost about 1500 taka per person. They are air conditioned, so this might be the easier option and more comfortable. Bear in mind, however, that the standard for economy class or private first class cabin class in Bangladesh will not be the same as that in USA or European countries. The whole journey would take about 9 to 11 hours. Don't be daunted by the long time. The journey will be comfortable enough if you take the private cabin. Trust me, the rural scenery will be beautiful. It's something you won't see in any other country other than Bangladesh. As for road options, there are night and day coaches, AC coaches, or just normal coaches from Dhaka to Khulna. The price can be anywhere from 500 taka per person to 2000 taka per person, depending on what kind of bus you want to go with. For a taxi ride, you might have to fork out a bit more, something like 4000 to 6000 taka. So basically 80 US dollars to 100 US dollars. Taxi ride might be a bit more comfortable and faster because usually it would take about 10 hours to reach Khulna from Dhaka by bus. That's why most people take night coaches. If you take a taxi, it can avoid a lot of traffic and you would reach there within 6 to 7 hours. Those are really affordable, but a bus ride in Bangladesh might be something you guys would not actually enjoy.
Never ever take the bus in Bangladesh. First time in Bangladesh, I pissed my pants. Second time I thought maybe it gets better. Pissed my pants again. I can't believe it. We are still alive. Thanks, Lord.
They are not for the weak of heart. And finally, boat rides. Bangladesh is Asia's largest and the world's most populated delta country. So the infrastructure of traveling by river is pretty developed here. Now there are a number of ways you can go from Dhaka to Sundarbans or Khulna in this case via river travel. And the most popular way for a foreign tourist would be the paddle steamboat. Of course, currently they run on diesel and not steam. But the reason why it's so popular is first because of the safety standard is really high, and second the nostalgia factor because those steamboats they're probably over 100 years old and most of them have been decommissioned, but there are still 4 to 5 I think steamboats still in service. River travel by Bangladesh is a really expansive topic and I don't think putting it in just this video would do it justice. It deserves a video of its own, so I'll go over it really briefly here. You get on a launch or a steam paddle boat from Dhaka Shodarghat and there are a few ways you can go to Khulna from there. The most popular way would be from Dhaka to Borishal, then Borishal to Khulna. It doesn't actually stop near the Sundarbans. The port it stopped is called Hularhat, and after disembarking from there, you can take a bus or a taxi to reach Mongla port, from where you will take the boat to Sundarban. In Bangladesh, the passenger carrying large vessels that travel through river are called launches, and they are more modern than the paddle boats, but they are also cheaper and less comfortable. And the paddle boats have been built in such a way that you just get a wonderful view of the river and Bangladeshi Delta if you travel in first class, but in launches you will not get the same treatment. The journey from Dhaka to Borishal will take about 11 hours, and from there, from Borishal to Khulna, that's a 6-hour journey. In total, it's 17 hours, but it will usually take longer because after the boat arrives at Borishal, you will usually have to stay there for 1 or 2 days and then catch another paddle boat that heads to Khulna. If you go via launch, then unfortunately, after disembarking from the launch in Borishal, you will not get a same launch that goes from Borishal to Khulna. In that case, you have to catch another paddle boat or bus. The fare is somewhere between 3,700 taka to 4,000 taka. It really depends because this is so popular in Bangladesh. You have to really book a few days earlier for first class paddleboat cabins. If it's not first class, trust me, it's not really worth it. That's the only option you want. Now, finally, after you have reached Khulna, either via plane, bus, train, or boat, you have to go from Khulna to Mongla port. It's Bangladesh's second largest port, and from Mongla you will either take a shared boat that reaches Sundarban, or you can hire a private boat just for you and your family if that's what you want. Now, this boat fare depends very much on the agency which you hire, or if you go with a local person who's showing you around, that person's negotiation skill, because there are really good services out there and some sketchy ones too. However, you need to keep in mind that without an agency or some kind of local guide, they will not give you entry into Sundarban forest. This is something you must keep in mind. So it's best to be prepared. Now, if you want my recommendation on how to get to Sundarban, then 10 out of 10 times I will say go for the paddleboat ride, because that is what makes the journey worth it from Dhaka to Khulna. The rest of the options are of course faster, especially the plane ride. I don't think you guys came to Bangladesh for more plane rides. Depending on which type of boat you hire, it will take anywhere from 1 hour to 2 hours to reach the periphery of Sundarbans. Usually what people do is hire one boat, a kind of river canoe taxi, to then meet up with the main boat. From there, the main boat will take them deeper into the forest. This is where the real adventure begins. Trust me when I say this. When you're visiting Sundarbans, don't go there for only 1 or 2 days. You either go for 3 or more days, or you don't go at all, because otherwise your money is wasted and the experience will be really lackluster. In Sundarban, there are a lot of places to visit. The most popular tour package, as they say it in our country, by far is the Kotka Kochikhali Wildlife Sanctuary Tour. And most foreigners and locals, when they say, I want to go to a Sundarban tour, I want to visit the forest, this is the itinerary they mean. And to a certain extent, this tour does cover the whole Sundarban mangrove forest experience. I will be explaining this first. After you get onto the main Sundarban cruising boat, it will immediately head deeper into the forest via small canals, waterways, and submerged mudflats. Depending on the type of boat you hire, it's going to be either a comfortable ride or it's going to be really unpleasant, because the first time I myself went to Sundarban, we went on a large boat with 40 odd other passengers, and the boat was so large it couldn't even fit into some of the narrower canals, which was unfortunate. You don't want to do that. The boat needs to be smaller to reach the narrower canals. It will take about 7 to 8 hours of cruising to reach the Kotka Wildlife Sanctuary, and the journey is the experience. In the morning, you're going to see a lot of colorful birds, and if the tide is low, then the wildlife will come to the shores. If you're lucky enough, you're gonna see deers, monitor lizards, crocodiles, alligator, boars, monkeys, snakes, and of course, dolphins. What, you thought I was going to talk about tigers? No, they don't come ashore that easily. And if there really were tigers near the shore, then you would get to see an amazing scene of monkeys just running around the trees, screeching, and the deers running back into the bushes to save their own lives. Local people say that whenever a tiger is actually near, the monkeys will go out of their way to warn the deer pack so that they could escape in time. I don't know why, probably some kind of ecological balance these two animals worked out. And the reason you will see animals like deers and monkeys and boars coming near the shore and not just crocodiles swimming around the river is because during a low tide, the water level is far from the shore. These animals can drink up the water left behind in holes without having to risk their lives. During a high tide, if the animal was either thirsty or dumb enough to go near the shore to drink water, it'll be like a scene directly from a horror movie. A crocodile will just jump out, snap its neck, and drag it into the water. They don't do that, so only during the low tide will you see them. By the time you reach Kotka ranger station, the forest guards, it would probably be nighttime, and the nighttime scenario of Sundarban is actually even better than the daytime according to myself. You will see millions of fireflies floating above the narrow canals inside the forest, their light reflecting on the calm, pristine waters of the Sundarban rivers. It will feel like as if you were transported into some kind of prehistoric fantasy-like world, and the experience is just so unique. I cannot possibly explain it with words. It's one of those things that you just have to experience it yourself. I would share a video of it if I had taken one or if I could find one online, but unfortunately I can't. Moving on, the boat will anchor overnight at the forest ranger station just because of safety against dangers. And don't get me wrong, Sundarban is pretty safe. However, it is a primordial forest, so the extra safety precautions cannot hurt you. This is what happened in my experience the last time I visited Kotka Wildlife Sanctuary. On day 2, we took a countryside rowboat to even narrower canals for our Sundarban tour. We went out a few minutes before sunrise, so we had the full sunrise experience, and in my opinion, that time is the best time to see wildlife from a distance. We even had our breakfast on the boat inside the jungle with bread and honey collected from the forest alongside fish. It was delicious. All around us, the kingfishers were bombarding the water for their own breakfast, alongside 100 other birds just flying around grabbing insects and fish. We went to the Kotka Wildlife Sanctuary office to talk with the rangers, and from there we went inside the actual sanctuary area alongside the rangers. It was a vast, expansive area cleared inside Sundarban just for wild animals, and if the day before or in the morning you have seen wild animals from the boat from afar, in the sanctuary you can get a bit closer look. Of course, you shouldn't go too close, the rangers will not allow it, and if there are tigers you will be eaten, I think. I mean, it could happen, who knows. After you've had your fun share of wildlife, now it's time for jungle trekking. I enjoyed this, some people don't, but hey, if you're going to Sundarban, if you're just seeing it from a boat from afar, that wouldn't complete the experience, would it? So the rangers will guide you throughout some of the safer routes in the forest, and you're gonna see a lot of things. The same things you saw the day before from a boat, and this time probably from up close. You'll see a variety of trees, indigenous to Sundarban, insects, bugs. The wildlife animals will not probably come close to you, but if you're lucky you can see them from afar, just running about in their little animal trails. The trek, which will take about an hour or maybe 2 if you guys are slow, will end at Kotka Sea beach. This is one of the highlights of this journey. The small sea beach is in the southernmost part of Sundarban, where the rivers meet the sea, the Bay of Bengal. Unlike other sea beaches in Bangladesh like Cox's Bazar or Kuakata, where it's filled with tourists no matter which time of the year you go, this is more peaceful, secluded, and way more natural. There is no pollution, and rather than sandy sea beach, this one is more rocky with natural tree stumps all over the place. You will have that sea beach all to yourself for a few hours. You can dip in for a quick bath and play around. If you have children, I guarantee you they will really enjoy the experience. Also, ask the guide if it's dolphin season, because in general freshwater dolphins you can see them in the Sundarban rivers all year around, but during a particular time of the year I think the sightings increases a lot. They won't be entering the sea as they are gangetic freshwater dolphins, but if you can spot them, it's going to be the most amazing thing ever. After you've had your wonderful time in the sea beach, it's time for another trek to the next spot, which is called the Kotka Watchtower. It's a high watchtower a few meters above the tree lines. If you're lucky, you'll reach there just before sunset, and that is one of the other views you cannot miss when you are in Sundarbans. Even without the sunset experience, just watching the horizon of the forest from above the tree lines will be an experience worthy just by itself. If your luck had been particularly bad during this whole trip, then I guarantee you, when you go up that watchtower and look down, you will see a lot of wildlife. Everyone does. I mean, no one's luck is that bad, is it? Who knows? After the return trek through the jungle to your boat, you guys would probably be hungry by that time and have your wonderful Sundarban dinner. The boat will then cruise towards Kochikhali Wildlife Sanctuary, where it will anchor overnight. The next day, on day 3, just like every other day, you will have a morning boat tour through the narrower canals, and in Kochikhali during the noontime you will go to the wildlife sanctuary after visiting the ranger's office. It's even more expansive than the Kotka Wildlife Sanctuary because this one is a vast meadow. It also has a sweetwater pond inside where the forest animals gather to drink. To anyone who has seen the Lion King movie, you've seen how the animals gather around the pond in the African savanna drinking water without bothering each other. Carnivores, herbivores, everyone. Well, the same thing happens here. Of course, not everyone can witness this scene. It really depends on the time of day you go and the weather. There are a lot of factors. However, go there with the wish to seeing it, and I hope the goddess of luck smiles upon you. This will probably be the end of your tour. After that is just the return journey. You will see the same thing you saw when you went there, so I will not elaborate on that. However, depending on the agency or the package you select, there might be some variations. They might add some spots. There are a lot more, and trust me when I say this, they are each unique, and I will be talking about them in the next part. The video will be linked down below, in the card above, and at the end of this video. If you liked my content, please give this video a like, subscribe to my channel and hit that bell button. I will see you all again in part 2 of the Sundarban A to Z guide. Everything you need to know about Sundarbans if you are visiting Bangladesh.